listen, laugh, and learn.
You have to drill that target audience.
It's the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash.
Until they are consuming your product, not because they love it, but because they can't escape.
We're all business.
Drill, baby, no more pussyfooting around.
Except when we're not.
Hey, it's December. Welcome to the Focus Group. Tim Bennett here, as always, with my good friend and co-host, John Nash. We're all business except when we're not, and that's old Sarah Palin. She keeps giving, John.
Well,
drill, baby. No more pussy.
I do think that earns her the cabinet position for the interior, right?
Well, she'll get something.
We know what she's doing, right?
Right. We want to thank you for joining us today. Be sure to follow along. If you want to find out what platform we're on, go to focusgroupradio.com. We're on multiple platforms, is what we like to say, which include iTunes, SoundCloud, if you want audio, and now on YouTube, our very own YouTube channel, which is Focus Group Radio, and also now on Apple TV through the Reverie app. You could also follow along with us and see us on the big screen and fast forward or rewind. Maybe you could rewind, too.
We always encourage rewind because that means you're rewatching, right?
And so be sure to subscribe, like, or rate us on any of those platforms of choice as well. We'd like to get our numbers up because that's what pays our bills. We have
the numbers.
We have a phone number, 914-FOCUS-GR, 914-FOCUS-GR, John likes to say. Yeah. 914-362-8747. If you want to leave a comment, you'll get a pair of our famous Focus Group Radio socks if we use your comment or idea on air. And we have a special show today. We're going to change up our format a little bit. As many of you know, John and I were formerly on SiriusXM OutQ, and we were the weekend show, I guess, for lack of a better word.
We were the only live thing on the weekend. It makes it sound like it's some kind of dead zone.
Other than the Tea Party channel and the Catholic channel, there was one other thing.
The Catholic channel was, we always see.
It was great at the urinal during break time. We'd all be peeing together.
God bless you. Yes.
But, So we were able to, John went to an Out 100 event about a month ago and ran into the very own Frank Decaro and Jim Colucci, and so they're going to join us today after we do our usual opening bits, and it's free form.
Well, I also think, I know that there's Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all that crap in between, but to me, the holiday is officially in gear December 1. Everything else is just all marketing. Is that the way it works with you? Yes. And in our family, as a matter of fact, December 5th was a key day.
In your family, December 5th? What was that, Festivus?
Well, first, my children knew nothing of store-bought goods. My mother was baking.
Did your mother buy Pyrex?
She knew how to. No, I'm surprised.
Poor mom. Is she watching the show?
She watches.
Poor mom. She's going to be. You're going to go home to baked goods.
Look, my mom's idea of a baked good when we were kids was the Viking truck. Remember the Viking truck and the Charles Chips guys?
We had Charles Chips. What was the Viking?
Viking
truck?
was like Entenmann's. It was like Entenmann's. I want that crumble. I want that.
We didn't have that.
Anyway,
it was Middlebury. You were upscale.
Yeah, all that 3 mile difference was the big one, right? So. On December 5th is St. Nicholas Day. You know St. Nicholas Day?
No, we weren't Norwegian. Are you Norwegian or something?
German, French, English, and
you got to do your 23andMe, by the way. It's cheap.
Way,
it went down. Price went down. $99. No longer $1.99.
You did do 23andMe?
I did it, and I told you, I'm very disappointed in my outcome.
Bob actually did his testing recently, and he is...
did he find out what he is?
Mostly Scandinavian countries, if I got that
Did he think he was British? Western Europe. Well, lucky you. I got Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
It was like Ukraine, Romania.
I know I'm going to do mine. But anyway, St. Nick's is a holiday that the idea was on the night of December 4th, we used to eat one shoe by the door. And in the morning, there'd be a gift in your shoe. And that was like the kickoff for Christmas. It was St. Nicholas would come by, and you'd left your Christmas list in the shoe as well. But for me, that was my favorite day. It surpassed Christmas because...
Woo! Another piece of the puzzle at the Nash house. Are you kidding me? December 5th?
St. Nicholas Day, yeah.
And what did you get in a shoe?
I would get a Matchbox
mothball
car
or something?
Or a...
box of matches?
I got a little Lego thing or something.
What kind of shoe? Did you leave a big boot or something?
It's just your shoe, like a sneaker or a shoe or something. Look at you drilling down to the level of, like, what kind of a shoe was it?
What did your poor sister get? You can't cram a dolly in a shoe.
You can get a Barbie into a shoe, yeah.
Could you?
Yeah, Barbie's not that. You'd be surprised they're not that big. But it was never that. It was about like a little candy thing or a little tiny little toy thing. And that was my favorite part.
Have you instituted this in the Barnes Nash household? I think you should
No,
bring out December
no.
5th as, what do you call it, shoe day?
St. Nicholas Day.
St. Nicholas Day.
Sinterklaas Day, if you were in Holland, actually. Sinterklaas. It was Santa Claus, Sinterklaas. Yeah, but December 5th, yeah. All right. Anyway. I don't want to give you too much of the puzzle, right?
Now, John, I got a question for you. I'm thinking, I don't know if you've noticed my hair. I'm growing my hair a little longer. I'm deciding whether I'm going to grow it long. I figured why not at this point.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say, why wouldn't you?
I was going to grow a beard, but I decided not to. I was going to do that.
No.
A lot of my friends were doing the beard for November.
Movember.
Movember, right. And there's a mustache one now, too, that they're doing. But I don't. I turned a little too gray, I think. But I think I'm going to do. I think I'm going to do the long hair for a little bit.
But you know my old business partner, Greg, right?
Yeah.
So Greg was
Like Rasputin.
Well, he had a huge beard, and he kept it for apparently until just a few days ago. But he stood witness for us when Bob and I got married, and there's a picture of myself, the Justice of the Peace, Bob, and Greg. And my mom looks at the picture, and she's known Greg since we were in college, and she just, honey, who's the rabbi? I mean, the hair was like crazy out and gray and just,
Speaking of marriage, are you going to do your first year ornament? Are you going to start that now? So it'd be your first year Christmas together?
Well, that first
year
year
ornament?
Christmas would, I guess, officially be next year. Because if you got married in this year...
No. This is your first Christmas together as husband and husband.
Oh, boy.
That's what I'm going to get you for Christmas now that I'm thinking about that.
Oh, no, we have plenty of ornaments, and it might not be sanctioned for the tree.
There's tree sanctioning?
I'm not allowed to touch the tree. You sanction what goes on the tree. I have my own tree that Bob makes for me. It's all the science fiction ornaments. It's a Dalek, it's a spaceship, it's lights. But those are all been given to me, but they are not for the regular tree. That's John's tree, John's sci-fi tree. And the main tree, don't you dare put an ornament on the main tree because it's all mapped out and planned out. And
I have a Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer tree. I have all the.
Oh yeah, well you have Cornelius.
I have all of the
Yukon
characters.
Cornelius.
All the characters from Rudolph, and I have one of those silver trees.
Yeah.
So
you have a Festivus pole as well.
I have a Festivus pole that was made for me with all images of Seinfeld on it. But I
love the Festivus pole's my favorite thing.
That's been put in the broom closet. And
Really?
I think the mice have chewed a little bit on it. But I need to figure out what I'm going to do for that for Christmas this year because I'm a little late with my tree. Usually I like to get the tree up right around.
Okay, so I told you that, Bob, we no longer do a real tree. Bob found an artificial one that looks really, really good. I mean, frankly, it looks real to me.
Wow.
And that eliminates my whole worries about the tree going up in flames and taking the house with it. But not that I obsess over it, but I do worry.
Well,
Yeah.
so what caught your eye?
Okay,
this
in the
week?
spirit of our show, since we're having
What
the
caught
amazing...
your eye? Here's what Tim and John found.
I'm sorry, guys in the booth. I ran right over the imaging. That's what I do. John's laughing. Garrett,
Someone said we need a hand movement, but I said we're on the screen.
yeah. Do we need a hand gesture or something like? In the spirit of this incredible show today, because of our wonderful guests that are going to be joining us shortly, I decided to profile a book that caught my eye because I love the illustrator. It's a man named Christopher Neiman, and he actually has created work for the New Yorker, Wired Magazine, New York Times, and he's an illustrator. And his book is called Sunday Sketching. And so what he does is he sets Sunday aside to never work on anything that's a paying job. He spends...
You win the lottery?
Well, as an illustrator, illustrators can work, they don't have to be 9 to 5 Monday to Tuesday. They work when they work and they get their job done. But he purposely set Sundays aside, and he does something called Sunday doodling, or his live doodle. And I think he has a really quixotic and fun sense of humor. So I've pulled some images from this book. It was released in October by Abrams Publishing. He'll take an everyday object, and he will then illustrate something with it. Now, this segment, if you listen on iTunes or YouTube, I'll walk you through it verbally, but it's a real visual treat. So if you see it on YouTube, I highly recommend it. One image, he has a half of a bagel that he just lays, and then what he did is he drew a face around it, and it makes the picture ends up looking like a guy who's shaving his face. That one on the right is a sock, but he drew it to make it look like it was a T-Rex running, right? You got that?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's I knew you'd question this
It
one.
looks like something you do in a first year art class.
I don't know. I think that's really hard. How he looks at an object and he just kind of draws
could do
around
that.
it. No, I cannot do that.
I had to do that once. I did it with a 5.
Oh boy, here we go.
Okay, next.
Next up, yeah. So on the left, there's a picture of an avocado, right? Do you like those?
Yeah.
And he made the.
Did you draw the avocado, or did he?
No,
actually
that's
use a
the
picture?
that's the avocado. It's a photograph.
Then he draws off.
He
it.
draws off of it, and then on the right-hand side, there's a picture of a hard-boiled egg on a spoon, which has become this guy's kicking leg. It's a soccer ball. It looks like he's kicking a soccer ball, right? As we're looking at, all right, on the left here, there's 2 rolls of masking tape, and he's drawn a bike in between. On the right, it's a comb, which becomes the front grille of a Mercedes or a Rolls Royce or something. Now, Tim, you're looking.
Well, would you hang any of this in the house?
No, it's a book. It's not meant to be hung.
Would you hang it though in the house?
You know, I would, because I think I like this.
You like the playfulness of
It's
it.
whimsical, and he said the kind of humor that I'm interested in is the kind that requires your intelligence. He goes, your readers put things together. All I do is put the building blocks out there, but you have to do the connecting. Now, the reason I like that quote is that's something I learned from you in advertising. You can draw the circle, let the consumer finish
Yeah,
it
gotta
for you,
connect
right?
it, right.
And so he said it's a very intelligent thing to come up with these. He thinks about it for a while, and then he sketches it. So that was what caught my eye.
Is that onomatopoeia?
Onomatopoeia. What's an onomatopoeia?
Giving life to inanimate objects or something? Is that right?
No, that's anthropomorphizing. My children know nothing of store-bought goods. And in the Bennett household, my children know nothing of the Webster's Dictionary.
Oh, well, we had an encyclopedia.
Which one? Were you World Book?
We only could afford up to M. So I had to do something in North Dakota, and I struggled.
So you went to Montana instead,
Yeah.
right?
You know, you got
So
them at
that
the
was my
grocery store.
So what I was showing everybody and what we were talking about is a book called Sunday Sketching by the wonderful illustrator Christopher Neiman. He's very funny. I like his work. So that
I like
was,
the bagel one.
yeah, that's what caught my eye.
So what caught my eye was something that actually caught John's, but because I loaded it first, it became
You won.
mine.
You won.
So it's from our friends in Japan. It's called the Japanese Museum of Rocks That Look Like Faces. And so in Chichibu, Japan, which is 2 hours northwest of Tokyo, there's a museum that's called the Hall of Curious Rocks, which in Japanese is Shinseki-kyan. Shinseki-kyan, I think is the proper way to say it. They have over 1,700 rocks. 900 of them resemble humans, and the rest of them resemble such things as Mickey Mouse or E.T. or the favorite tropical fish Nemo. And the artist who did this, Yoshiko Hayama, it's currently run by Yoshiko Hayama. Her husband died. He was Soju Hayama.
What is this one that John's zooming into? Is that
That's
supposed
Elvis.
That's like a Japanese
Can't you tell?
Elvis, right?
It's either Elvis or that bad pottery Lucy did. Remember when Lucy was a sculptress?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Bad Pottery Lucy over.
That's Elvis.
If you're listening to this on audio only, again, you might be missing a bit of a treat, so check it out on YouTube.
So Shozo was a collector for over 50 years. He collected rocks that looked like faces. His only requirement was that nature be the artist. So he put together over 900 of the human-looking rocks and then the rest of all these other different sort of characters. And there's currently so many on display. They don't all have names, so they allow you to name some of them that are unnamed. And but if you want to visit the museum, make sure you call ahead because they will unexpectedly close with no notice at times. But I picked this out only. You might have picked it out differently than myself, but I picked it out because it reminded me of that little kitty doll museum you went to in the Bronx. When you no. Okay, Kitty Doll Museum in the Bronx. I don't even know where to begin to unravel this. Didn't you go see the kitties thing?
It was a museum of taxidermy in Gowanus, Brooklyn, and the featured exhibit was a tableau called The Kitten's Wedding.
Whatever.
Yeah, facts,
Bronx, Brooklyn. I'm from
Facts
Philly.
have such an annoying way of getting in the way, right?
So, but would you
Yeah,
go to that museum?
I would
I figured
go-
if this was here and
If you and I had a road trip and we were doing
stop.
something, we would definitely put that on the list. I would be there in a second. Yeah.
so that was what caught my eye. The today's December 3rd, as we said. It's December's National Fruitcake
Wait,
Month.
you don't want to run over the imaging.
Oh, did I run over it again? We get in trouble on social media all the time. It's
Those who fail to learn from history are forced to repeat it. Enjoy this lesson from Tim, and remember, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Oh, how
It
true.
reminds me of Imus when he used to. Now I know why he was doing all the spinning and all
Let's
that
get
stuff.
let's get the boiler
Watch
read
him on
out or
TV,
whatever.
right.
Yeah.
So today, so our first show in December, it's National Fruitcake Month. It's also National Eggnog Month. I bought some eggnog. I love putting a little brandy in eggnog.
Bob loves
Nutmeg.
eggnog.
It's good. I tried to find a fruitcake to bring in because last year we talked about fruitcake and you said you think you might like it.
I like date and nut bread, but I'm not sure I like fruitcake.
No.
No.
Well, if I find one, I'm
I
bringing
just
it.
remember the Pee Wee Christmas special. Everybody brings Pee Wee
Fruitcake.
and wrapped in foil, and they're going to make a wall out of it.
Perhaps the best Christmas show ever on TV.
Ever with Grace Jones, etc.
Today is also National Roof Over Your Head Day. So they say buying a house is your single largest investment, unless you go to Harvard. Did you know that home ownership in the United States is at 64%? That's pretty high. And then December 3rd is also Let's Hug Day. So I did a little picture there, Brokeback Mountain. Patsy and Eddie.
I wondered why you had Brokeback Mountain in there.
That still brings a tear to my eye, that movie.
Really?
I love that
The
movie.
Cowboys?
Yeah.
It's a really well done movie, no doubt about
In
that.
my days in the frat house. And then it's National Cookie Cutter Week.
Okay, so it took me a minute.
What?
That's Santa's hat.
No, it's not. It's a pot of gold.
Oh, is it really?
Get your mind out of the gutter, Nash.
My children know nothing of store-bought
Yeah,
goods.
so see the pot is there, and then rainbow comes out as a pot of gold. You know, like the.
Oh, I thought it was Santa's hat with the little.
No.
I know what my brain thought it was.
Well, we all know what your brain thought it was. Someone from Johnson & Johnson to get some Pfizer materials over there to prop it up.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's Cookie Cutter Week. The Happy Birthday, Illinois. In 1818, Illinois was admitted as the 21st state in the Union.
The land of Lincoln.
Right. In 1910, the neon lamp was first displayed at a
1910, the neon?
motor show. Right, motor show.
okay.
In Paris, or as John would say, Paris, because he's
Paris.
fluent in French. It was developed by French physicist Georges Claude, or you would say what, John? Georges Claude.
Georges Claude.
Georges.
Yeah, Georges Claude.
So he actually had a monopoly on the neon lights here in the U.S. until the 30s. In 1931, Alka-Seltzer was sold for the first time.
31, yeah. Plop, flop, fizz, fizz.
Or
Oh,
Speedy.
If it is. Speedy's yeah. He was a good spokesperson for years.
I'm thinking Speedy should have been for another drug. You think?
That would be for blowfreak.com. Which I just
1948, she looks like she'd take your nuts off. Colonel Mary Halloran was the first woman sworn into the...
No, I didn't see this before the show.
Yeah, that's Mary.
She looks like that cosmonaut we profiled.
Well, she was the
once.
very first
comrade who goes to orbit. She's
person
tough.
sworn in, not in the medical corps. She was the first Army officer. She's got number L1.
L1 is gonna. You don't go to
Mary-
L1 with a STD because
Mary
cut
Halloran.
it off, right? I'll solve your STDs.
1962, Edith Spurlock Sampson was sworn in as the very first U.S. black female judge. They said black then instead of African American, but she was also the first delegate to a convention.
Cool.
Eleanor Roosevelt had appointed her a delegate, and she has a great history. If you wanted to read more about Edith Sampson, the 1967. I did this one for you. I found this after I had done the notes. The famed luxury train, the 20th Century Limited. Made its final run in 1967. It ran from Chicago to Illinois, New York to Chicago.
Oh yes.
And it took 16 hours. And what I didn't know, do you know that that's where the term red carpet came from?
Not at all. No.
So that's where, so back in the 30s when they started doing the train, or 1902 they actually started. They'd roll out the red carpet, and they'd put the red carpet on for you at Grand Central Station, and then you got the red carpet when you got off the train.
That was the red
so that was
carpet?
rolling out the red carpet. And they said Hollywood ended up taking that idea for something special. So they tried to make the 20th Century Limited a very special ride, which would be a fun train to take. Wouldn't it?
Don't you wish we still had it? I mean, I would ride it, right?
It'd be fun. They said it had a very sophisticated and understated elegance, which suggested exclusivity and sophistication. And while it didn't go all that fast, it only averaged about 60 miles an hour, but you would leave Grand Central at 9 o'clock at night and get into Chicago at
Morning time.
morning time, yeah.
So it had sleeper Pullman cars. It had sleeper cars.
In 1989, Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev and George Bush declared the Cold War is over. Maybe Putin and Trump can do the same. 1990, Nightline aired Madonna's video "Justify My Love." Now, you remember it was banned from MTV.
Yes.
Do you know why it was banned from MTV? What the
No, I
reasons
don't
were? They gave
remember
5
why.
reasons why it wasn't allowed on MTV. I remember watching the Nightline special with Ted Koppel. Number 1 was sex.
Yep, I
Too
do
much sex.
remember that.
Gender bending. They didn't like the idea that men were dressed as women. Gay and lesbian romping. They said even though it was the 90s, that was not to be done. There was some suggestion of S&M.
Some. Okay.
And they said the dancer covered in black was too provocative. So there was a dancer that was all, remember,
Yeah.
done in black. But I wanted to try to pull the video up and show it, but I'll post it to our Facebook page.
Now you're looking
when we
at it, and
post
what
the
do you
show.
think?
It's harmless, and it's great. It's beautiful. It's beautifully done. It's like her sex book.
Yeah.
You know, you say to yourself, gosh, but it was 1990, and people were up.
World's coming undone.
Were uptight. And then the final one, this is probably me, and I'll get in trouble for this, 1999. Tori Murden became the first woman to row across the Atlantic Ocean. So I looked at Tori, and I kept looking, and I thought, God, she looks awful familiar, and she looks like Bruce Jenner. So I pulled some Bruce Jenner pictures and mixed them in with Tori. Can you tell the difference?
I can.
They
But
look like they
yeah,
could be
it's
brother and sister.
cheekbone, nose, yeah.
And even as she got older.
Actually, it's the one of him in the bow tie under her in the black blazer that's are the closest.
But even as she's aged, 20 years later, they could be twin brother and sister. But the first picture I saw of her on the left there, if you're watching on YouTube, I thought, oh my gosh, it looks like she could be Bruce Jenner's twin sister. Maybe it's just the way I looked at
And now that Bruce is Caitlyn,
Caitlin.
yeah.
Then we had Tori Mullen.
So you put that together.
What do you mean?
And you saw her picture, and then you decided that she looked
I thought she looked like Bruce Jenner, yeah.
That was a your day in this is your invented day in history, right?
What happened in science?
Don't be blinded with science. Here's what you need to know from the week in science, according to John. It's poetry in motion.
I like the way you move on really quickly. You just shut that down,
You didn't see the similarity?
I do, but I mean, you came up with that, right? That wasn't like someone wrote.
I try to
that.
keep you focused.
Yes, okay. All right, so December 5th is known for the Great London Smog of 1952. So I pulled this up because Bob and I got sucked into the rabbit hole of The Crown.
Crown.
Yes, okay, which is a great Netflix series, but part of it takes place during Elizabeth's reign when the smog comes and consumes London for 4 days, responsible for 4,000 deaths. The underground continued running during that period of time, but bus service was almost impossible because they could literally collide with other cars.
Did you see the episode? You saw the
Yeah, we
episode
did.
where the
Yeah.
poor girl was hit.
That was the connection to Winston Churchill, and it was really well done. Freshening winds and a rise in temperature dissipated the fog, which cleared on 9 December 1952. On December 6th of 1906, the very first aerial photograph of Stonehenge was released and shown to people. It was taken by a hot air or hydrogen balloon. And the reason I included this is because, I thought it was pretty cool that someone finally went up in a balloon and took a picture of Stonehenge. The next picture I'm going to show you is
Stonehenge?
Stonehenge to me is now forever linked to the movie This Is Spinal Tap. Okay, so on the left, that's Christopher Guest playing guitar, and that little thing coming down from the ceiling is supposed to be a massive stone arch. Do you remember Spinal Tap at all?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's supposed to be this big thing, Stonehenge, where the demons dwell, like this whole song. But what the arch actually ended up being in Spinal Tap was this little thing that was like 12 inches high, and that's it there. And the band was like, what the hell? We wanted a Stonehenge. Well, the napkin said it was supposed to be 2 feet high, whatever, and they had these little dwarves that danced around.
It's like a
it, so.
Flintstone ottoman.
It has nothing to do with science. The aerial photograph did. That does not.
I thought you were going to compare it to Carhenge, Nebraska.
I loved Carhenge. That was on our all-track road trip. Yeah. And that was a Tim find. That was on our last day of the official trip. Alliance, Nebraska was Carhenge? Alliance, Nebraska. And in December 7th, Apollo 17, in 1972, launched for the last manned mission to the moon. It was headed by Eugene Cernan, who was actually a geologist. He was the last man to walk on the moon. And what I love about the photo I chose for this was it's all the great things when I was a kid that you wanted to have as a kid, right? It had the moon rover, there was a Saturn V in the background, they had the suits on, and you got to love that Apollo 17 patch. We've never been back since. And
Well, the Chinese are there now, didn't you say last show?
Last show, well, that was in the 2013. That was the Jade Rabbit. That was their robot. No, we're the only country that put men on the moon, right? So I'm sad to say that was the launch of the mission, and the mission ended on 19 December 1972. So that's your week in science. It's like your week in history and your business birthday. Catch as catch can. You never know. You never know what's going to happen on a certain day, right?
Business birthday.
Everyone does celebrity birthday greetings, but the Focus Group is the only show in the universe that celebrates business birthdays.
That's right. December 2nd, Friday. This is kind of a sad birthday. Well, not a sad birthday, but Giovanni Maria Versace, or as we know him, Gianni
Versace. The sad
Versace.
part is the end of his life, right?
He was born on December 2nd, 1946. Of course, an Italian fashion designer and founder of Versace, or Versace, some of the people say in the other parts of the world, right?
Or in the movie Showgirls, which we adore.
And he also designed costumes for theater and films, was a great friend of Eric Clapton, Lady Di, Naomi Campbell, Madonna, Elton John, Cher, and Sting. He was also the first designer to link fashion to the music world. I didn't realize that. And said he was one of also the few that was openly gay, and he and his partner were regulars on the party scene, Antonio D'Amico. And of course, he was murdered by Andrew Cunanan in front of his house in Miami at age 50. He was only 50 years old in 1997, which to this day they said they still don't know what the
motive was.
The motive was,
which is weird, right?
Yeah. So that was our business birthday.
All right, you're watching or listening to The Focus Group. John Nash with Tim Bennett. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we have the amazing Frank Decaro and Jim Colucci joining us, so buckle up. Or it's going to be a bumpy ride.
Brought to you by the Volkswagen Golf GTI. Named one of Car and Driver's 10 best, 10 years in a row. Focus on the savvy side of 9 to 5 with the Focus Group.
And in business a week, I got more money than I know what to do with.
Listen, laugh, and learn with Tim and John.
Herrera Rocher. He is doing well.
Hey, welcome back to the Focus Group. Tim Bennett here, as always, with my good friend and co-host, sitting right next to me.
We don't do this. This is
I know,
weird,
this is
right?
We're like Mika and Joe.
Don't start attacking me.
You're Mika. You're blonde hair. I'm Joe. Joe and I are in the
Start
same
attacking
bracket.
me like Joe attacks Mika all the time.
All right, I won't attack you.
See, I can't.
It's,
I'll look this way or this way.
We'll get a surprise in a second on who's in John's seat, but it's Tim Bennett here with my good friend and co-host John Nash. We're all business except when we're not, and be sure to follow along at focusgroupradio.com. And as you know, we're formerly from SiriusXM Radio, and now available on multiple platforms of choice for free. And but we were delighted. One of the things when John and I were over on OutQ, and what we missed the most was listening to some of the other programming. One of our favorite shows, if not favorite show, that I listened to every single day was the Frank Decaro show.
Wounded my heart
with
when
Doria
we couldn't
Biddle.
tune in.
And John had the pleasure of running into Frank and Jim at the Out 100 Awards and said, "Hey, you got to come on the Focus Group." So, camera. We've got Frank Decaro and Jim Colucci joining us here on the Focus Group. Welcome, guys.
Hi.
Guys, it is such a pleasure to have you here in our fabulous studio.
It's gorgeous.
That overlooks
sunset now.
A cosmopolis somewhere.
So when we were delighted to have you both both come on. And I guess the first thing when I saw Frank was, let's throw what we do, the elephant on the table? Is that what we would say?
800-pound gorilla. It's a
800-pound
fat
gorilla.
joke waiting to happen. It just doesn't matter which animal you choose.
You look and this isn't one of those, you look fantastic. What did I look like
take it.
before? But congratulations. How much weight have you lost?
Okay, since April, it's about 65 pounds, but since 2011, it's 93, I think, or something like that. I'm going for Lisa. I've been touring with Lisa Lampanelli, God love her, Insult Comic Deluxe, and she's lost 107 pounds. So I'm going to meet her and I'm going to get to 107 pounds. So, and then it's just so we're both have lost 107 pounds. We've lost a person. I had one friend who was a little performance artist, this little miniature person, and I was like, little miniature person. No, it was true. No, she wasn't a little person, but she was a little person, but not a little person. But I said, oh my God, I lost more. Now I've lost more than Sharon. My friend Sharon. So, but yeah, no, it's been great.
Can I ask how you did it?
I've been using an app.
Fear of Lisa Lampanelli.
Yes, this is true. Fear of Lisa
is always a
Lampanelli
motivator, right?
So Jim knows the drill.
The secret.
So Lisa Lampanelli, Insult Comic Deluxe, we love her anyway, but doesn't pull any punches. She had the bariatric surgery.
Right.
Lost 107 pounds, kept it off, 5 years now. So she called me to her house the day before Easter, and she said, come on up. I've got a great idea for your career. It's going to be great. So come. So I go to her house. I drive to Connecticut all by my lonesome. I get there at her house and I'm sitting there. It's not about my career. And she said, you came because you're a money-grubbing fame whore. And I said, yes, this is true. She said, but here's the thing. She said, you're family now and you're not dying on my watch.
Now, was this after OutQ or before?
Yes, no, it was after. No, OutQ ended in February.
Right.
So I had the time to diet, and so which honestly is true. It's like if it was kind of the perfect storm for losing weight because I didn't have a day job. I could actually sleep 8 hours, which you'd kind of need to do. I could work out every day,
right?
Which I was doing almost. I have in the last couple of weeks because I'm staying in the East Coast. I don't really have a exercise plan here yet. I was going to a gym for a while, and then and that ran out, my temporary membership. So we're getting back to in the swing of that. But so Lisa said, here, download this app. So I downloaded this app. That you journal all your food with, and like a
MyFitnessPal or something.
Kind of, yeah. It's called Lose It was the one I used, but any of them really work.
Is that the one where you take the picture of the food?
Yes, you can take a picture of the food, or you can do the barcode if you're eating frozen things from Trader Joe's, like a lot of us do. And those dumplings, I tell you, 2 minutes you're done. So, but you can barcode. Swipe it and it go. The food pops up,
and it has a lot of restaurant menus built in, right? So they have the calorie counts.
It's true. So I've been doing all that. So I've just been counting calories. The only problem is now. So all right. So when I started, I was 291. Now I'm about 223 to 225, depending on the day. So then it was 200 calories. Oh, it could still lose weight. Oh, down at 1660. It was like the mark of the devil. 1666 is the new calorie count that I'm allowed to eat for the day. So it's like
1,600 calories.
Almost 1,700 calories a day.
You
hit it's hard.
Around noon and then say that's it, and you have to.
You go to bed at 5 o'clock a lot. You do, and you take the little propofol, you go right away. No, you just have to sort of budget your day and go along. And what's nice about the app though that I've been using is it'll tell you, like if you go over a little bit, it'll say. If you don't go over, it'll say, you're going to lose your weight by December 24th. And you're like, yay, Christmas. Then I'll eat like a pig on Christmas Eve. So, and that's that. But then if you go over a little bit, it says, you'll lose it by January 24th. And every once in a while, when you have when you've had the day where you're over by like 1,500 or 1,800 calories, it says thanks for journaling. Basically, is what it says. That's all. It's just good on you for writing it down.
You'll be losing.
Good for writing it down. You fat pig. You. It's really what you feel like when you're over that.
Is the app developed by Don Rickles or something?
It does. Good. No. See, Lisa was talking about this. She said that actors. She was quoting Louis C.K. I think she was saying actors respond to nurturing and coddling. Comedians are, don't frig this up for me. You'll ruin it for all of us. It'll all go down, And so we respond to guilt. And so she was like, don't do this. Because she said, you're going to my bariatric surgeon if you don't lose 30 pounds by Gay Pride. That was in April. So she said to by the end of June rather, I had to lose 30 pounds. And I did. I'm going to get my stomach cut
consider
out.
the bariatric?
No, I don't want to get cut up. I had my tonsils out when I was 5, and I hope I go to my grave with every other part of me, my gallstones included.
Attached.
All going. Yeah, I hope we all go many years from now. It all goes.
So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I think though I don't want to skip over something that I think is important to talk about, and that is the loss of OutQ. And I know that Tim alluded to it earlier, where I could reliably tune in to your show on a daily basis, and whether I called in or not didn't really matter. I don't think whether anybody called in. You wanted a dialogue, but just hearing you and your take on the day, or whatever, if Dennis Dermody would be calling in, or you'd be talking about TV.
Must hear TV.
Yeah. So, I know for us that when we heard the news, it was very devastating, but we were once a week. So what is it like to have that audience taken away from you when you're doing it 5 days a week?
Because you were 10 years?
12.
12 years on the air.
12.
Yeah.
I missed the 3 hours when the red light was on, and that's it. That's all I'll say.
Well, no, you also missed the connection with the audience.
Oh,
and
yes,
that
yes.
happened
That's
on
what I
your
mean.
own
But that's
time.
what to me,
the
that's
3
implied in
hours.
all of that.
Yeah.
Yes. I missed the 3 hours of me and the listeners and Doria and our special guests and meeting all those people. That's the piece I miss. I don't miss sitting at my desk. I don't miss having to answer to anybody. I don't, It was there was a good relief component when it finished. It was time to do something else. And I'm not good at leaving. I'm not someone who breaks up with somebody or something. I sort of wait till somebody breaks up with me, which for better or worse. But it was kind of time to do something else. And people were like, do you ever talk to Doria? And I was like, yes, and we talk all the time. We're pals. And it wasn't, our chemistry wasn't forced. We were lucky it worked out that we got on as well, since we were so different from each other.
What Frank doesn't say, and I will because I was never a paid serious employee, so I can.
And neither were we.
Is
Neither were we.
it was handled so poorly in terms of the audience and the gulf in their lives now that they're missing this connection. A lot of people outside the New York, LA bubble really relied on OutQ for their news, for their friendship, for their camaraderie. And, look at the year we've had in 2016 since it ended in February. We had the Pulse shooting. We've had this election. There's so much we need each other for, and we need a way to talk to each other via. And it couldn't have been worse timing for a corporate entity to decide gays don't need their own channel anymore because they have marriage.
I'm glad you said that and we didn't put a lot of the people on air, but we would get calls every week, and I'm sure your show did as well. A mom would listen and say, can I listen to this again? I think my son needs to hear this segment. Or a lot of people, like you said, in the hinterland or the flyover territory, there was a lot of the listener. Yeah. And there was a connection that they had, and they felt like, there is somebody like me, or I'm going to be okay. And
it's vital.
Yeah.
And they got to hear happy gay people.
Yeah.
Happy married gay people with full lives who were funny and happy. And
we had a listener who used to take his son specifically on Saturdays to run errands during our show, and because the father suspected that his son might be gay, and I think the son did end up being gay.
And this was his way of letting his son know it was going to be okay with him. So he wrote us this very long letter and said how he purposely created their Saturday errands around the focus group. And he'd get in, he'd turn it on. His son would say, "Dad, what are you doing with that?" "Oh, I'd like to listen to it." And then eventually his son did come out a couple of years later, but it was his way of connecting with his son. Now that's a straight guy in the Midwest with his son that's thinking, "Gosh, who knew, right?" And that's the part that we miss.
Yeah,
as well.
and we would hear from we heard from a woman who said the same thing about her kids. She's like, I would have my son listen to your show, or a daughter, because then you're examples of fully formed adults that are having fulfilling, happy lives. It's not wasteland. You don't have to, So I think that aspect is missing. And I was talking to a listener at an event recently who asked...
Never do that. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
And he asked me, he said, can you lend any illumination as to why they did this? And I think we all know what was going on in the minds of some of the programming people.
But don't we have to guess? Because they never really Told.
Well, they told everybody who called in with.
We're all biting our tongues.
I just read a line. I just read a line from somebody else that is so perfect. They said we had creative differences. We wanted to be creative, and they thought differently.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Not my line, but I thought yes.
But this guy said to me, whenever I would call, I would be directed to a specific channel. I'm like, that's your answer right there. That was management and their idea of what LGBT programming was.
Yeah. No, it's.
Well, they did think gays are gays are gays, and they thought that the LGBT audience needs just one option because it's all the same.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, no, it's disconcerting, but hopefully something new and wonderful will come out of all this, and we're truly appreciated. I mean, I think that was really my big problem was not feeling appreciated. If it was a good show, it was good. If it was an okay show, it was okay. If it was a terrific show, it was fine. As long as it wasn't dead air, they were happy. And I don't like to work that way.
And now we can sit in a glamorous metropolis such as this in a beautiful studio and appreciate each other.
I don't like that. I want it to be, if we're really good, reward us for it. If we're not, show us how to be better. And there was not a lot of that. And so that was hard for me. But onward and upward, as they say. You just have to. And we talked the other night. Yeah. The line I always love, Phil Rosenthal quoting someone else, the creator of Everybody Loves Raymond, used to say, "Make the show you want, because sooner or later they're going to cancel it."
I remember when you actually said that on air. We were talking about that once.
Really, it's good. Just do what you want. And always, what's that thing about apologize, don't ask permission? It's always like, oops. It's like, oh, I didn't know I couldn't do that. Just do your thing. And
I will ask you one question.
Yes.
And I'm wondering,
I hated everyone. No, I didn't.
Was there a fake? And this is such a trite question or something. But was there an interview that you just absolutely loved?
Which was?
I have one.
Okay, I loved the B. Arthur one.
Okay.
Because she said filthy things. Filthy. I love the Carol Channing one because
that's my favorite.
Yeah. I said to her, she said she was going off to do a signing. I said, Carol, have you ever had anyone asked to sign like a boob? Sometimes a girl take a boob out and say, sign my boob. And she said, oh, Frank, I'm scared. I don't want to go. So that happened. And I asked Dame
Julie Andrews
about what is it you see face? The line from Sound of Music in which
what is it you can't
What is it you can't face? And it comes out. It used to sound terrible. And I asked her about it. I was like, I just said the C word in front of Dame Julie Andrews. It's like, what? Who would?
What did she answer?
No, she said, oh, I've never heard such a thing, and blah, blah, blah. And it was, which was good. But it really is.
About it.
She was playful, but it was really like, you did. We ended, and now I look back and I say, you asked Julie Andrews. My interior monologue now, is
I would say
out of your mind.
Joan Rivers interviews, you were great.
Rivers
yes.
Munchkins, that was so much fun.
Yes.
You had so many really historic people.
One of the Munchkins grabbed my hand. He's dead now. They're almost all dead. He grabbed my hand and he said, so many people treat us like circus freaks, and you're treating us like Hollywood royalty, and thank you so much. And that was one of two things that meant the most to me. That and the mother who called in. She said, my son died of AIDS, and I have not laughed until I heard your show. And you sound like him on the radio.
Oh, wow.
And you don't know what a comfort that is to me. I was in a puddle. I sat there, I was like, I am speechless. Motormouth Maybell here is speechless. I didn't know what to say because you think you're just being self-indulgent and goofy, and you're talking about baloney stuff, and you're self-aggrandizing, you're doing in some ways.
Did you have?
And then you're reminded of that you are doing good.
Do you have the Carol Channing interview?
I think I have a copy of that.
You should put it up on Facebook.
I don't think I own it because I was
give it to
an
us. We'll put it
employee.
up. Okay. Because it's hilarious. I mean, when you say to her, "You're an outcast," I am. It's almost like she had no idea where she was, and you were just playing along and laughing with her, and
I was dying. Joan Rivers, it was what Jim mentioned. Joan Rivers, when she said, I walked in. We were doing an interview. She was wearing a hot pink jacket and had silver accessories, and unbeknownst to me, I walk in and I'm wearing a hot pink Lacoste shirt and silver Prada sneakers. Okay.
Silver Prada.
I walk in and I said to her, "Oh my God, I got the memo about how to dress." And she looked at me. She said, "Only a-holes dress this way." And she didn't say a-holes, but it was just so funny. We had and she was one of those people that was generous, and you could make her laugh. When I interviewed Robin Williams, but not for serious, but for something else, he also would laugh. It's like people who are that funny are generally speaking are generous with. They'll laugh if at you or with you or whatever. They're not intimidated because they know how talented they are and they're secure.
Well,
So
and
you can make
that's
them
the other
laugh.
thing about what we've all done is, you get to see people behind the proverbial camera, right? And you discover that there are a lot of them are just like us. Mm-hmm. Their special gift is the talent that they're talking about on air, but they end up being a lot of luck, and they end up being a lot like us, right?
So we had one guest who came on posthumously. The executor of Rue McClanahan's estate brought her ashes.
As a surprise.
As a surprise. It was a
Can you
surprise
imagine?
guest.
And guess who else is here with me? Rue.
Rue McClanahan's cremains did my show.
Rue had done your show alive as well.
Rue had been alive. Yeah, she'd done it alive. But
That's a perfect segue.
Yes, it is, I guess. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
So, Jim, tell us about the book came out
April.
In April. So tell us a little bit.
Yeah, thank you.
Hold it up to the.
Oh, I sure shall.
Gee, hold up that New York Times best-selling book,
There we
Golden
go.
Girls Forever, available on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com.
I had so much fun doing this.
We have a graphic
10
of
years.
you with.
With me and B.
We have a picture from that day, and her eyes are closed, and it looks like Weekend at Bees. It looks like we stole her body. Oh my God, it's genius.
That was when she did the benefit concert. She toured the country for decades doing this one-woman show. And she became really a devotee of the Ali Frenay Center here in New York City.
Really? Homeless LGBT youth?
Yes,
There's a home in her name now.
In
because
fact,
of all
yes,
the money she gave.
when Bee died, she was so touched by the cause that when she died, she bequeathed, I think it was $300,000 to the Ali Frenay Center, and they've used it to build a new residence in Brooklyn that they've named for her. So Bee, this night that photo is from, Bee was performing a one-night-only version of her one-woman show at a theater on the Upper West Side to benefit Ali Frenay. And it was wonderful. I mean, the community came out in droves to support her because, of course, she was Bea Arthur. She was Dorothy.
Yeah,
He went to her house and had a drink with
Oh
her.
yeah, that was someday.
He went to her house.
That was someday.
Never did that.
So how did I know you're a fan of the Golden Girls and many gay men are.
Yeah.
All
gay men are.
Well, every once in a while I meet one who's not, and I'm like, how did you slip through?
I slipped through because I was thinking about the time the show was on, and I was out all the time. Boom, boom, boom.
Yes.
And so Saturday nights I was out. I wasn't in watching TV, but I do catch them now on because they're on reruns quite a bit, obviously. Do you
So
think
you've made up for it.
Yeah, but do you think the show will hold up like an I Love Lucy 50 years from now? We'll still be watching Golden
Yes, and I
Girls?
think that's the only other example so far that I would name. In the book, I say that Golden Girls and I Love Lucy are really the only shows that so far, and I put an asterisk because I think Friends may do this and Seinfeld may do this, but so far has recruited a whole new generation of fans who weren't around for the first time. That's my criterion for saying something has lasting power. Because more recent shows like Friends and Seinfeld, yes, now with Netflix and Friends, there are young kids discovering Friends, and that's why I think it's going to happen. But like a lot of the Golden Girls fans, if you do the math, the show ended in 1992.
Right.
So, I mean,
didn't realize
24
that.
years ago it ended.
And I'm still watching.
I'm still watching it, but there are people younger than 24 who are huge Golden Girls fans.
So another staying power thing with television shows, though, is the writers and whether or not they're pulling in real world storylines to a Golden Girls storyline. So if you look at Lucy, we never really knew who the president was,
Right.
what the weather outside was. So is Golden Girls similar, do you think?
They did a little bit of it. There were episodes where they had the Pope look-alike, or they had
Correct.
President Bush coming to visit the first.
So that
President Bush.
timestamps it,
So
definitely.
that timestamps it. There was a Gorbachev-themed episode. So they certainly talked about the political figures of the day and certainly the issues of the day, although a lot of the issues of the day, of course, still plague us now. So that doesn't really timestamp it. The probably least enduring part of the show is when they would make pop culture references. Often Dorothy would sarcastically say something. I remember a reference to a failed NBC show, Manimal, or they'd make
Manimal. I remember,
we do.
they'd make Gary Hart and Donna Rice jokes or whatever. Those unfortunately are the few things that when you watch the show, it takes you out of the reality of the show for a minute because you have to think, wait, what was that again? Oh, right, that was fresh for them then. But now I have to remember in my history book in my mind what that was. I remember there's a drag troupe in L.A. that Jackie Beat leads. And it's so funny. They do drag versions of different episodes of The Golden Girls at Casita del Campo Theater in Silver Lake. It's great if you're in LA. Go.
So they literally, the stage show is the 22. It's one or two
Usually take
22-minute episodes.
two 22-minute episodes, and they'll do like some commercials of the 80s in between on video while they change their costumes.
And they're suprememely
And they're
talented.
great
actors.
mimics. It's Jackie Beat and Sam Pancake and
Drew Droege and Sherry Vine.
Sherry Vine.
And they're
guest stars playing
brilliant.
some of the guest stars.
Sam Pancake.
And they're amazing. They're an amazing troupe. But the reason I bring them up is I remember one episode they did. Jackie Beat has a line, and you knew who this was.
Oh, yeah,
I
I did.
I knew who Robert Jarvik was, but I didn't know who Michael DeBakey was. There's a Michael DeBakey reference, and Dorothy makes it. And so when Jackie Beat delivers the line, it's so funny because she looks out at the audience and just goes like, as she's saying it, like, even I don't know what this means. Well, who are you, Michael DeBakey?
No, Dr. DeBakey. It was Dr. DeBakey.
DeBakey. And Frank had to be like, okay.
He's like, do you know who Dr. DeBakey is? I said, yeah, the heart doctor. And he's like, you're the person who knows.
Artificial heart, but I always think of Jarvik.
Yeah, the Jarvik.
That's the kind of thing that's what I remember. That's why I can never, it takes me 40 meetings with someone to know who they are, because there's such baloney flying around my brain that it's just like, that is,
So I always thought
that was not the first Marilyn, it was the second, on the Munsters.
That's the occasional DeBakey reference that makes you think, wait a minute, I have to remember who that is.
I think someone tried it in Chicago, but I always thought I Love Lucy would be a good one to do. Take all the music that they did on the show and make it a musical. Wasn't it done in Chicago?
I believe
They tried to do it?
CBS was trying to license a version of that to travel the country. I think
thought
that
it'd be a
actually
great
has been
idea.
happening.
Before we go on, we need to take one quick break.
Oh, okay.
So, hey, it's John Nash with Tim Bennett. We don't normally sit like this. But you're right. You're always on the. Anyway,
Are we in the right place?
we have the incomparable Frank Decaro and Jim Colucci with us. We're going to continue our conversation in just a minute, so stay put.
Brought to you by the redesigned Volkswagen Passat, where family happens. Visit VW.com to learn more. Now, back to the focus group with Tim and John.
Glamour today is nothing but a tight skirt, loose hips, and wet lips.
An entertaining look at the world of business.
Make it work. Make it work. Make it work.
Hey, welcome back to the focus group. Tim Bennett here, as always, with my good friend and co-host John Nash. We're all business except when we're not, and I think we're business today. We're business and
we're not. No, we're having fun.
We're having
with
fun.
Two amazing guys.
We've got Frank Decaro joining us and Jim Colucci.
I brought my business.
You brought your business. And,
I brought it.
wrapped it up in
I
that
wrapped
shirt.
it up in this shirt.
we were talking about Jim's book, Golden Girls. Is it Golden Girls Forever?
Golden Girls Forever. And this is like a compendium.
Yes, it is. I spent 10 years tracking down everyone, all the actors except for Estelle Getty. She was alive at the time but wasn't well. But I did talk to B. Arthur, Rue McClanahan, Betty White, Susan Harris, the creator of the show, and about 250 other people who are guest stars or crew
This
or
is a
writers.
holiday gift.
Well, it's a great
is.
holiday gift.
So
So
you were going to ask about
It is true. You know how Jim and I have been together 20 years. And I'm the one that if somebody
Congratulations.
complains about something, I'm like, what did you do wrong? It's always my first question. It's his fault. So it pains me to have to say this. This book, quite simply, ups the ante of what a book about a TV show is.
Wow.
It is up there with...
From Frank Decaro.
It is up there with the...
Where was the blurb, Frank? I didn't put that
You didn't
on.
ask me. No, please. I wrote the introduction. You cut it out. Fine. It's no. I was going to say it's up there with what was it? Live from New York. Whatever the name of the SNL
The
oral
SNL,
history is. It's up there with that. It is everything a TV book should be.
and it's on the
And I
bestseller
hate
list.
saying that.
Yes, yeah,
It's New York Times bestseller.
in
So
May.
don't be humble.
Oh no, I'm very proud of it. Please, it took 10 years. I have to be.
Is there another show you're gonna do next, or is that you keeping that under wraps?
I'm working on it. I have to get permission to do it. It's hard. Golden Girls are a tough act to follow.
Well, I was going to
terms
ask
of
you. I was
following.
going to ask you about similar time frame,
Yeah.
Designing Women.
Yes.
Which I used to love Designing Women, but now when I do watch it, it does exactly what you said. There's so much insider of the time
That
stuff that it feels
particular-
old real quick.
Well, I love that show, and
Yeah.
certain episodes of that show I could watch over and over and laugh or cry like you intended to. But it was a much more politically focused show.
Correct. Good point.
And so it was deliberately taking on politicians and issues, and now those are 25-year-old politicians and issues. So sometimes it doesn't play, and yet sometimes it does. If you watch that episode they did, Tony Goldwyn guest starred
remember.
as a man dying of AIDS.
Yep,
Right.
I do
and
remember
he
that one.
hires them to decorate the room that they're going to have his eventual funeral in. and it's a tearjerker. And you watch it now, and it's like no time has gone by, unfortunately. And so even though that was political, sometimes it works still, and sometimes you think, who was that? The Bork. There was an episode of Designing Women when Bork was being nominated for the Supreme Court, and two of the ladies were for it and two were against, or the Anita Hill thing and Clarence Thomas. You
Now
look at that, and
Bork-
you think that's a time capsule.
And now Bork is just the sound the Swedish chef makes. So it's Bork.
And the domestic violence episode they did is apropos.
Yes. Oh, so many. As I said, so many of these issues still plague us, but sometimes it'll be about a specific politician, and that has kind of been lost to history.
So you're both authors in the same household, which is kind of cool.
He's the only best-selling author in the house. We'll say that.
For now.
Well,
wasn't
we'll see.
a boy named Phyllis? Wasn't that?
It's a cult hit, as they say. No, I did. No, my first book, A Boy Named Phyllis,
Which is a wonderful book,
Thank
Frank.
you.
You ushered in that whole Davis Sedaris
Yes,
thing.
thank you. I was
before David Sedaris. You did. It should be the Frank Decaro.
He's going to follow you home now. He's
I
going to
get-
follow you
It's
home.
It's true, but meanwhile, he has a house in the south of France, and I have one in northern New Jersey. So, whee!
We're on the south side of the street.
But it's fine. Yes, it's true. And he's hilarious. It's only if he were not screamingly funny would I be jealous, because it's like he's really brilliant. So if you're gonna have someone best you, at least you're being bested by someone that talented.
someone like that.
But no, it's. I'm working on another book now. I'm working on a book on drag. In show business, kind of my own take on what's important, what kids who only know Bianca Del Rio should know. So I'm working on that. Although these books don't write themselves. I'll tell you.
And hey, trust me, Tim and I have looked at this from 10 different ways to China. You got to put the time in. It's discipline. You got to write. So we just put up a picture of some of your books. Boy Named Phyllis.
Got me my husband.
May I recommend that so heartily? It was such a joy when I met you, because I had read the book and I'm like, oh my God, I'm meeting the author. I was so thrilled. And one of our favorites, the Dead Celebrity Cookbook.
Yay.
And for the holidays, you wanted to talk about Christmas in Tinseltown.
Okay, Phyllis is nearest and dearest to my heart of anything I've ever done.
Well, it's autobiographical.
Autobiographical, and my heart is really in that one. But Christmas in Tinseltown gives me a giggle, because
Just
first
the
of all,
cover.
it's Joan Crawford carving a turkey, and she's got a toe tag. Keith Price, who I used to sit with we used to call it the petites department, because the two of us, we had to reinforce the floor because we were sitting near each other. But he said that turkey needs a toe tag, so we gave it an RIP toe tag. But the fun of this book for me is every December in Los Angeles at the West Hollywood Public Library, we're going to do our next one on December 6th. We do a movie Little Christmas in Tinseltown. And Alonzo Duralde from The Wrap, which is that website, has written a book called Have Yourself a Movie Little Christmas. And I have Christmas in Tinseltown.
He's pairing what to watch with the holiday.
And
You're going to be pairing the food with.
Yes, but I talk about television mostly and pop culture, and he talks about movies. And then we celebrated it, and we have people on. We had Bruce Valanche on. Wow. Telling us tales about the Star Wars holiday special. Last year,
Talking
he wrote
about
that.
B. Arthur and her reaction to the aliens and their dress in that number she did.
Yes.
It was priceless.
It was priceless and filthy. And then last
This is a live
year,
thing. You got to be there to see this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then last year we had Kevin Chamberlain, who had just played Santa in the Mariah Carey directed movie, whatever that was, on Life for Hallmark. So he had Mariah Carey directing him stories, and so that was genius. We had Richard LaGravenese, is he the director or the screenwriter? I don't remember. Of the Ref.
Screenwriter of The Ref.
Okay.
He was on.
Many other things.
And this year we're going to have Gregory Harrison on the panel, and I don't know I don't remember the name of the movie, and the guy who directed Grease, what's his?
Randall Kleiser.
Randall Kleiser is going to be there because he did a Christmas movie.
At least one.
Yes,
The Grease.
The real one. And so anyway, so he's going to be there, and then we're hoping, keeping our fingers crossed. We've got invitations out to people like Johnny Galecki from Christmas Vacation and Big Bang, of course, and a certain someone is going to bring footage no one's ever seen.
Special Golden Girls surprise.
Outtakes and/or an unaired episode. Oh, surprise! It's a surprise.
But it's Christmas themed and Golden Girls.
Wow.
Can you tape this or no? Is this just a live
Not that part.
experience?
Yeah, no, it's pretty much
no.
just a live thing that we do at the WeHo.
It's in conjunction with Outfest. Yeah, I don't know.
It's
if
a
you said
benefit
that.
for Outfest. Yeah. So we do. It's been really fun, and I'm hoping we've got to invite out to John B. the Genie, John Paragon
guy
from
that
the.
played
Mecca high,
on
Mecca
the,
honey ho.
the guy that
Yes.
played him on not only the original. Pee-wee used to be a play. It was
Well,
like a live
a character in
performance.
the
I
Groundlings.
almost failed out of Northwestern because of that little man in that too tight suit.
Why?
Because I went. He was playing the Park West Theater, and it was the night before the Law and Ethics of Journalism final, and I was like, "Screw it, I'm going to see Pee-wee." And so I didn't study for the
Is
test.
that why you know nothing about the ethics of journalism?
I know that nothing about the ethics of anything. No, it was I got
Pee-wee's fault.
I got a D on, but I passed anyway, so it was all right. But I don't remember anything from that class, but I can tell you jokes he told you that night. So he's in, but the book, because it's all dead people. I have Dinah Shore's fruitcake recipe. Remember she sings the 12 Days of Christmas that goes on forever. So
Wasn't she Jewish?
she's in here.
Yes.
Yes. Jews are the best holiday people.
Yeah, I was gonna say they write the best holiday songs.
Best holiday song. And if you're gonna have a Christmas party, stock it with Jews, okay?
Right.
Because they're so happy to be at your
Secretly
event.
eat ham at your Christmas Eve, and
Oh
it's their
my
once a
gosh,
year
yes.
sin.
They lean
And then
over.
they-
They're
oh my
like,
God.
"You are
Well, bacon at breakfast too.
about October." It begins. You are making a ham, aren't you? And it's like, you're Jewish. I don't care. I make
care. I need the ham.
Yeah.
Better make that
always-
ham.
Yeah, I bought the. If you're the ham is. I bought the ham. Okay, we're good. So we're all set.
But you could still get both of the Dead Celebrity
Yes, they're
Cookbook
still in
and the Christmas in Tinseltown through
Amazon.
Amazon.
Wherever fine media is bought, traded, or sold.
It's good because this one's in the black, so it's good. I'm excited. The Dead Celebrity Cookbook is actually in the black. And
you-
guess what?
did you make
These
all
are
the
for
recipes?
you. I made some of them. I didn't make all.
Is there one that you loved?
Yeah, you know what I have a craving for? It's terrible. It's so bad for you. I have
Talked
to
about
see-
this on air once. If it's the same one I'm thinking
There are
of.
ones that I like that he doesn't like as much, but
There's one that'll kill you. I have to figure out what it is. It was Harriet Nelson's chicken bake, and I don't know if it's in the first book or the second book.
it was so unhealthy.
Oh, it was just
I remember
why it was good.
But it was like cream of this
Frank,
and cream
I
of that.
think
and
you're
cream of
right though, because once I was in the car and you were talking about one of your favorite recipes from the book and how it was just too good to be true, but how bad it was, and you were
That's
like,
the one. But you know my favorite name and it's for real. Liberace sticky buns.
yes, yes.
How could you know he was in on the joke? You know he was. If he could, if he's
he
like,
was.
what recipe you're going to donate? Liberace sticky
John's
buns.
husband's a huge Liberace aficionado.
And we closed down the Liberace Museum.
Oh.
No, we didn't. I mean, we did a live show from there. Then days later, they
They-
closed.
that
Yeah,
was
so-
So it is Christmas time or December,
Holiday.
and I know
all great gifts.
when I used to listen to your show all the time, you always had a specific theme for Christmas. Now, one year was all peppermint stripes, and
Oh, that was a good year.
what is it this year? Did you pick your theme?
This year, because Hanukkah also is on Christmas Eve, and half of our friends are
Wow, that's a good lineup there.
Jewish, we've got it all
and
together.
white.
Blue and
So it's
white.
blue and white and silver this year.
Wow.
So you tell your Jewish friends it's Christmaka, and then you tell your Gentile friends it's Winter Wonderland, and then everybody's happy.
And everybody's happy.
Christmas.
We actually, considering we're Gentiles, we own several menorahs that will
like 4 or
match the
5
theme.
menorahs.
So we could even light the candles that night.
Okay, but I heard this earlier on in your show. Okay, you're not allowed to touch the tree because God forbid. Okay, what happens if you've done nothing but mock last year's Christmas. I insisted we do
ruined last year's
nostalgia.
Were you in charge of Christmas?
Oh my
Visuals.
God.
We can't let him in charge of
Oh,
this.
see, I would have thought Frank was in charge.
I am so good, and I've been.
I'm literally told I'm the talent. I'm just supposed to be there to smile, and there's my tree, there's that tree.
I am
You're
one
the-
step
you're
away
the-
from.
You're the behind
I'm the visual
scene.
one.
Wow.
I do the tree, the room. I buy and wrap the presents. He does the food.
He's really good, but he
And
will
when I
not.
attempt to bake and do some of the food, he gets territorial. So don't let him fool you that he's.
No, he's not. He is. The was it not pinstripe? What's it called? Peppermint Twisted. We called it. That was the name. of it.
You called it that.
Peppermint
because you
Twist.
Usurp everything.
Yeah, Peppermint was really good. That was my favorite one that we've done so far. It was really pretty.
So will you do it in L.A. or Jersey?
New Jersey.
No, in New Jersey. We come back here and we do it, and then and it's fun, and then we head back to LA. But I've been touring so much. I've got like 30 dates next year with Lisa. I'm going to be everywhere. So it's
How
fun.
can people find
Lampanelli.
out where?
Yeah, because sadly, what's your favorite?
Time's a
line?
thief.
Time's a god darn thief.
Go to her website, insultcomic.com.
Insultcomic.com.
Insultcomic.com. And her schedule means my schedule as well. My website needs to be taken behind the barn and shot. Okay, it's dead. It hasn't been updated. There are cobwebs on that website.
You've kept your Facebook
Frank,
page.
Oh, Facebook every
Frank,
day.
It's impossible. It's hard. It's a pain in the butt. Trust
I don't know how
Trust
to
me. I'm the
make
guy
the
that does our
website.
website thing, and I hire
do
someone
mine.
to do it for us.
Yeah, can I get a name at least? Oh,
We'll
thank God.
talk. All right, let's
give you a book.
Let's get the books again. It's the Dead Celebrity Cookbook. It's the original.
I'll put one in front
Celebrity
of my mic.
Cookbook. Here,
Yeah.
hold that one. Figure out which one you want. And then
We got
Christmas
the
in Tinseltown.
Christmas in Tinseltown.
Most importantly, that one.
This beautiful book.
Golden Girls Forever.
What was your cover blurb?
Oh, for
definitive.
Jim's? Oh, it ups the ante of what a TV book should
There you
be.
go.
TV companion book should be. And I mean that.
You know, Jim, he says it so well and so
know.
quick that there should be a
needs to be a
sticker
blurb
that
on
puts
there.
on there.
That's fine.
I'd like you
guys.
to do a book about the Munsters, but I know
It's my favorite show
I
ever.
love
the
but
Munsters.
It was only on
There
two
have been
seasons.
books about the monsters.
Tim loves Munsters, Lost in Space. I'm Star Trek, Munsters, Lost in Space, kind of.
I like the Addams Family.
Love Bewitched, and I did like the Addams Family.
I'm a bad gay. I'm not that big on Bewitched. I like it in small doses, but it doesn't thrill me when it's on. But the Munsters, I can
Munsters,
sit
I could laugh.
And endlessly funny. And the older you get, and you look at it, you're like, oh
And
my
what a
God.
camp Herman was.
Yeah, he was.
Oh yeah.
All right, and then we got the Golden Girls book. So guys, we need to have you back on. Please
We
let
would
us
love
know
it.
about your schedule so that you can come visit us, even if you're on tour.
Come post blue, silver, and white Christmas.
Yes, that'll be fun.
Chrismica. We'll let you know how our Chrismica went.
All right, Frank Decaro, Jim Colucci, thank you so much for joining us. You're gonna be here again. We're gonna see you again, and all our audience will see you again. Want to thank everybody for joining us. What more is there to say except go to VW.com and check out all of VW's new models, including our new favorite car, the All-Track Wagon, which white?
I'm getting white. You're getting blue, so it matches the
metallic.
theme for Jim's
All right.
house.
Come to Christmas Eve. We'll have a nice
Park in the
time.
driveway. We'll theme the cars.
All right, FocusGroupRadio.com for all things Focus Group. Thanks, and join us next week, folks.
It's the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash. Formerly on Sirius XM Satellite Radio and now accessible on all platforms. Subscribe, like, and rate us on your platform of choice. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com.